Have you ever wondered why some people seem to age much faster than others? Two people can be the same age, yet one wakes up full of energy while the other struggles to get out of bed because of aching joints, stiff muscles, and constant fatigue. The difference isn't always exercise, and it isn't always genetics. In many cases, it starts with something much quieter: chronic inflammation. It's often called the silent fire inside the body because you can't see it, but over time, it may contribute to joint pain, heart disease, diabetes, memory problems, and even faster aging. Now here's something interesting. Japan has one of the longest life expectancies in the world. Many older adults there remain active, independent, and surprisingly energetic well into their 70s, 80s, and beyond. While there isn't a single secret behind their longevity, one thing stands out: the foods they eat every single day. Not expensive supplements, not miracle cures, just simple, traditional foods that have been part of Japanese meals for generations. In today's video, we'll explore 7 Japanese foods that researchers have linked to healthier aging and a lower inflammatory diet, and more importantly, the everyday habits that make these foods so effective. Because sometimes, the biggest changes don't come from eating something extraordinary. They come from eating ordinary foods, consistently. Before we begin, it's important to understand one thing. Inflammation isn't your enemy. In fact, it's one of your body's natural defense systems. When you get a cut or catch a cold, inflammation helps you heal. The problem begins when that inflammation never completely goes away. Over months or even years, this low-grade inflammation may quietly damage tissues throughout the body. It has been associated with conditions like arthritis, heart disease, type 2 diabetes, and cognitive decline. The good news is that your daily diet can influence this process. No single food can cure inflammation or replace medical treatment, but the foods you choose every day may help support your body's natural ability to manage inflammation over time. And that's exactly where Japanese eating habits offer an interesting lesson. Instead of relying on one so-called superfood, traditional Japanese meals combine a variety of simple, nutrient-rich ingredients that people enjoy day after day. Let's take a closer look at the first one, and why it has earned a place on Japanese tables for generations. 1. Salmon, Japan's favorite fish for healthy aging. If your knees ache every time you stand up, if climbing a flight of stairs feels harder than it used to, or if your body often feels stiff for no obvious reason, you're not alone. Many people assume these changes are simply part of getting older. But in many cases, chronic inflammation may be making those symptoms worse. Now think about a typical Japanese dinner. Instead of a large processed meal, you'll often find a small portion of grilled fish served alongside rice, vegetables, and soup. One of the most common choices is salmon. Not because it's considered a miracle food, but because it's delicious, widely available, and has been part of everyday life for generations. Salmon is naturally rich in omega-3 fatty acids, healthy fats that researchers have associated with supporting a balanced inflammatory response in the body. These nutrients may also support heart health, brain function, and joint comfort as we age. But here's what many people overlook. The Japanese don't eat salmon once a month and expect dramatic results. They eat fish regularly. It's the consistency that matters. Rather than relying on one large serving, they make fish a normal part of weekly meals. That's a simple lesson anyone can learn. Healthy aging isn't built on occasional healthy choices. It's built on small habits repeated over many years. Question for you: how often do you eat fish each week? Let us know in the comments. Now let's move on to another Japanese favorite that many people already have in their kitchen, but may not be drinking often enough. 2. Green tea, a daily ritual that does more than quench thirst. Imagine replacing just one sugary drink every day with something that's been enjoyed in Japan for centuries. Not because it's trendy, not because it's expensive, but because it's simply part of daily life. In Japan, green tea isn't treated as a health supplement. It's a habit. Many people drink it with breakfast, during lunch, or while relaxing in the afternoon. It's as ordinary as a glass of water. Yet this simple drink contains natural plant compounds called catechins, especially one known as EGCG. These powerful antioxidants help protect cells from oxidative stress, a process that may contribute to chronic inflammation and aging over time. Green tea also contains a small amount of caffeine, along with L-theanine, an amino acid that may promote calm focus without the jittery feeling some people experience from coffee. That combination is one reason many Japanese adults enjoy green tea throughout the day. Again, the lesson isn't that green tea is magical. The lesson is that the Japanese often replace less healthy drinks with a simple, nourishing alternative. One cup probably won't change your life, but one cup every day for years? That's a different story. Here's a question for you. Are you a coffee drinker, a tea drinker, or both? Share your answer in the comments. Next, we'll look at a warm, comforting food that appears on Japanese tables almost every single day, and it may be doing far more for the body than most people realize. 3. Miso soup, a simple bowl that starts millions of Japanese mornings. For many people, breakfast is quick, a sugary cereal, a pastry on the go, or sometimes no breakfast at all. But in Japan, many older adults begin the day with something very different: a warm bowl of miso soup. It may look simple, but behind that simplicity is a tradition that's been passed down for centuries. Miso is made by fermenting soybeans with beneficial microorganisms. That fermentation process creates a food rich in natural compounds and beneficial bacteria. Researchers continue to study how fermented foods may help support a healthy gut. And that matters because scientists now believe the gut plays an important role in many aspects of health, including the immune system and inflammation. In Japan, miso soup isn't considered medicine. It's simply part of breakfast. Sometimes it contains tofu, sometimes seaweed, sometimes mushrooms or green onions. Every family has its own version. What makes it powerful isn't one special recipe. It's the habit of eating nourishing, minimally processed foods every day. Instead of starting the morning with excess sugar, many Japanese start with warmth, protein, and fermented ingredients. It's a small difference, but over decades, small differences can become meaningful. Here's something to think about. If you had to choose between a bowl of warm soup or a sweet breakfast tomorrow morning, which would you pick? Tell us in the comments. Now let's move on to one of Japan's most unusual foods. Many visitors can't stand the smell. Others never get past the texture. Yet millions of Japanese people happily eat it almost every morning.
4. Natto, the food most foreigners avoid, but many Japanese love. Let's be honest, the first time you see natto, it probably doesn't look very appealing. It's sticky, it's stringy, and it has a strong smell. Even many Japanese children need time to get used to it. So why has this unusual food remained a breakfast staple for generations? Because appearance isn't everything. Natto is another fermented soybean food, but unlike miso, it contains live cultures along with nutrients such as protein, fiber, vitamin K2, and an enzyme called nattokinase. Researchers have explored these compounds for their possible roles in supporting bone health, cardiovascular health, and normal circulation. Scientists are also interested in how fermented foods like natto may contribute to a healthier gut microbiome, which is increasingly linked to overall health. Of course, natto isn't for everyone. You don't have to force yourself to eat it if you dislike the taste. The bigger lesson is what it represents. The Japanese don't always choose food based only on convenience or flavor. Many traditional foods stay on the table because generations have found them satisfying and worth keeping as part of daily life. Sometimes, the healthiest choice isn't the most exciting one. It's simply the one you continue eating for years. Now we're curious. Would you ever be willing to try natto at least once? Answer yes or no in the comments. Up next is a food so common in Japan that many people barely notice it anymore. Yet it's packed with minerals from the sea and quietly appears in everything from soups to rice balls and salads. 5. Seaweed, the everyday superfood hiding in plain sight. When people think of healthy eating, they often imagine expensive supplements or exotic superfoods. But in Japan, one of the most nutritious foods is also one of the simplest: seaweed. It's wrapped around rice balls, added to soups, mixed into salads,
or served as a small side dish. For many Japanese families, it's just another normal part of dinner. Seaweed is naturally rich in minerals like iodine, along with small amounts of magnesium, calcium, and antioxidants. These nutrients support many normal body functions, including thyroid health, which helps regulate metabolism. Some varieties also contain natural compounds that researchers are studying for their antioxidant and anti-inflammatory properties. What's interesting isn't that seaweed contains a single magical nutrient. It's that the Japanese eat a wide variety of plant foods instead of relying on the same vegetables every day. That diversity helps provide different vitamins, minerals, and beneficial plant compounds over time. It's another reminder that healthy eating isn't about finding one perfect food. It's about creating balance across your meals. Here's a question for you. Have you ever tried seaweed? Would you eat it regularly if it could support healthier aging? Let us know below. Next is a vegetable that's often overlooked outside Japan, but many Japanese cooks wouldn't want to be without it. 6. Daikon radish, the humble root that supports digestion. At first glance, daikon doesn't look impressive. It's a large white radish. No bright colors, no fancy packaging, nothing that screams superfood. Yet it's been a staple in Japanese kitchens for hundreds of years. You'll find it grated alongside grilled fish, simmered in soups, added to stews, or served as a refreshing side dish. Daikon is naturally low in calories but rich in vitamin C, fiber, and beneficial plant compounds. It also contains natural enzymes that may help break down certain foods during digestion. As we get older, digestion often becomes slower. Many people experience bloating, heaviness after meals, or occasional constipation. While no single vegetable can solve these problems, eating more fiber-rich vegetables as part of a balanced diet may help support digestive health. The Japanese don't view vegetables as something you force yourself to eat. They're simply part of almost every meal. A little here, a little there, every day. That approach is much easier to maintain than following extreme diets. The lesson isn't to eat more daikon specifically. It's to fill your plate with a greater variety of vegetables more often. Small choices repeated every day can have a much bigger impact than dramatic changes that only last a week. Now we'd like to ask you something. What's one vegetable you enjoy eating regularly? Share it in the comments. Our final food isn't actually a meal. It's a drink that's become popular around the world, but very few people prepare it the traditional Japanese way.
7. Matcha, a small cup with a long tradition. By now you've probably noticed a pattern. None of the foods we've discussed are rare, none are luxury items, and none promise overnight results. Matcha follows the same philosophy. Unlike regular green tea, matcha is made by grinding whole tea leaves into a fine powder. That means when you drink it, you're consuming the entire leaf. As a result, matcha provides higher amounts of many of the same beneficial compounds found in green tea, including antioxidants that researchers continue to study for their potential role in protecting cells from oxidative stress. Traditional Japanese tea ceremonies aren't just about drinking tea. They're about slowing down, being present, taking a few quiet moments in an otherwise busy day. That habit alone may help reduce stress, a factor that can also influence overall health. It's a beautiful reminder that healthy aging isn't only about what you eat, it's also about how you live. The Japanese don't chase perfect health. They build daily routines that are realistic enough to follow for decades. And perhaps that's the biggest lesson of all. High-impact conclusion. If you notice something about today's list, it's this. None of these foods are exotic. None require a prescription, and none promise instant results. That's because the Japanese approach to healthy aging is very different from what many of us are used to. Instead of searching for one miracle food, they build meals around simple, nourishing ingredients that they enjoy consistently. A piece of salmon, a bowl of miso soup, a cup of green tea, a little seaweed, some fermented foods, fresh vegetables. These choices may seem small on their own, but repeated day after day, year after year, they become part of a lifestyle. And perhaps that's one reason so many older adults in Japan remain active, independent, and engaged well into their later years. Of course, no food can prevent disease or guarantee a long life.
Healthy aging depends on many factors, including physical activity, sleep, stress management, genetics, and access to good medical care. But what we eat every day is one factor we can often influence. You don't have to copy the Japanese diet perfectly. You don't need to change everything overnight. Instead, ask yourself one simple question. What's one healthy habit from today's video that I can realistically start this week? Maybe it's replacing one sugary drink with green tea. Maybe it's eating fish a little more often. Or maybe it's simply adding another serving of vegetables to dinner. Small changes are easier to keep, and the habits you keep are the ones most likely to make a difference. Now we'd love to hear from you. Which of these 7 Japanese foods surprised you the most? And which one would you be willing to add to your weekly meals? Share your answer in the comments. We read every one of them, and your experience may inspire someone else. If you enjoyed learning about simple Japanese habits that support healthy aging, don't forget to like this video and subscribe. Every week, we explore practical, evidence-informed ideas from Japan that may help you stay stronger, healthier, and more independent as you grow older. Thanks for watching. Take care of yourself, and we'll see you in the next video.